Sri Matre Namaha. Welcome to Sri Matrika. I am your companion in this journey, and today we gather once again at the lotus feet of Lalita Mahatripura Sundari. In this space, we move beyond concepts to experience the Divine Mother as the very breath of our lives. Whether you are a long-time practitioner or a seeking soul, I am honored to walk this path of silence, sound, and surrender with you. Let us explore her radiance together. Today, I want to explore a slightly different topic with you. We have all seen various sculptures and paintings in our lives. Whenever we visit an ancient temple, we are immediately captivated by the breathtaking sculptural art. Whether we spot it on a magnificent gopuram, discover it in an art museum, or simply come across it online, beautiful sacred art has a way of stopping us in our tracks. Specifically, I felt inspired today to talk about the sculptures and art depicting Ardhanareeshwara. Typically, whenever our sages, ancestors, or elders created something or undertook a task, they embedded multiple layers of meaning into it. They did this because they knew that everyone experiences the divine differently. Think about it. When we visit an ancient temple, what is the first thing that beautifully catches our eye? It is the gopuram and its intricate sculptures carved upon it. If a visitor is proficient in the technicalities of sculptural art, they will look at it and see the magnificent craftsmanship. Or someone visiting that temple and looking at that gopuram, but that someone is expert in dance or Natya Shastra, they might marvel at the posture thinking, oh, what an exquisite pose. Then look at the grace and the symmetry and all of that. Let's say a true devotee looks at that very same sculpture. They instantly connect with it spiritually thinking, this is Shiva Shaktyeka Rupini. Suddenly, they don't see a stone. They see a profound depiction of marital harmony and the seamless blending of the divine masculine and feminine. Even a casual visitor can appreciate it purely for its aesthetic value. Similarly, when seekers who are yearning for deeper knowledge look at it, they realize this is an entire philosophy hidden within this form. And today, let us make a humble attempt to grasp that underlying philosophy. I know you are all incredibly experienced and wise, but out of my own passion and interest, I simply want to share a few thoughts that resonate with me. Let us dive into the core of this topic. What do we typically think of when we visualize Ardhanareeshwara? It is the ultimate symbol of Shiva Shaktyeka Rupini. People often think it as a blueprint for human relationships, believing it represents the perfect harmony that should exist between a husband and wife, much like Rama and Sita, Parvati and Parameshwara. While that interpretation is beautiful and certainly not wrong, it is not the complete truth. Behind the outer symbolism, this form actually represents the energetic balance inside each and every one of us. That internal equilibrium is the true secret behind Ardhanareeshwara philosophy. Where does this continuous inner journey take place? It happens between the Ida and the Pingala nadis, or the energy channels that run along either side of our spine. The Ida nadi runs on the left side. It is associated with the moon, like a cool, compassionate, intuitive and emotional side of ours. The Pingala nadi runs on the right side. It is associated like sun, active, logical, goal-oriented, dynamic, duty-minded. If you observe your daily life, you will notice that we are constantly swimming back and forth between these two energies, much like a pendulum or a swing. One day we might be highly active and driven, and the next day we just want to relax. One day we operate purely from emotion, and the next we are strictly logical. The true secret of spiritual evolution is to stop this constant oscillation. The day we learn to balance these dualities and channel our energy directly through the Sushumna Nadi, the central channel within the spine, is the day our true inner journey begins. Whenever we decide to transcend this constant emotional swinging, we begin to navigate the spiritual path. This brings us to the journey of the Kundalini. But what exactly is this journey? In the Mooladhara chakra, that is the root center, our Kundalini energy lies dormant. I'm just touching upon these concepts quite superficially today because I know you're already familiar with the basics of the chakras, and I have a slightly different point to make today. As long as a seeker's gaze remains turned outward, this foundational energy remains coiled and dormant, disconnected from the pure consciousness that resides at the crown center. This is beautifully captured in the text in Shatchakra Nirupana. Kundalini Shakti Supta Mooladhare Nivasini. The Kundalini power lies dormant, residing in the Mooladhara. If that inner energy never awakens, what happens to us? No matter how much we read and no matter how much scriptural knowledge we accumulate, we remain stagnant. We might look at others who have a beautiful spiritual practice and think, that is wonderful and I should really do that. But if we never take action ourselves, can we truly progress? No, we cannot. Without personal effort, we remain exactly where we are, caught in the swinging of our internal pendulum, never finding true balance. Well, then what is the evolution of the seeker? If we do make a conscious effort, we find there are many paths available to us. Many seekers choose yoga, pranayama, that is, using their breath to regulate and balance their vital life force. Others find balance through deep spiritual contemplation and self-study. Some connect through devotion, channeling their energy into rituals and worship. And some pursue knowledge, that is jnana, constantly asking the ultimate questions. Who am I? Where did I come from? Driven by this sacred curiosity, they keep pushing forward. When we consistently practice any of these methods, a subtle shift begins to happen, and it is very much like going to the gym. If we want to build strength, it won't happen in one day. We have to show up every day, stretch, run, and gradually build our endurance. The spiritual path operates on the exactly same principle. We carry the imprints of countless past births within us, and we often live in a spiritually dormant state. And without much practice, we expect the spiritual evolution to happen quicker and faster. Interestingly, when we are in our mother's womb, we are fully aware of our source. We know where we came from and how we became separate. But the moment we are born, Maya or illusion veils our consciousness and we forget our true nature. We literally forget where our eternal home is. If we want to rediscover it, we have to start the work. There is no shortcut to this process. Through persistent practice, and the awakened Kundalini begins to rise, leaving behind the Mooladhara, Swadhisthana and Manipuraka chakras. For the very first time, the Ida and the Pingala channels converge at Anahata chakra, the heart center. When this convergence happens, a profound inner transformation takes place. Up until this point, as long as our energy is focused in the lower chakras, our lives revolve entirely around materialistic and worldly concerns. But when your energy reaches the heart center, you experience something very authentic, self-acceptance for the first time. You look inward and think, this is beautiful. And you will be surprised to see that you start to begin to have an urge to know who you truly are. You realize that while daily life and duties must go on, you're capable of accepting yourself and gracefully welcoming whatever comes your way. Reaching this state of heart-centered acceptance is one of the greatest milestones in a person's life. When that shift happens, life's challenges don't magically disappear, but your reaction to them changes entirely. That shift in perception is the beginning of true awakening. However, this heart-centered awakening is the first step. It is incredibly easy to fall back. The moment we experience a little spiritual growth, or if someone praises us, our ego can easily get inflated. And that is exactly how we fall back. So we have to constantly stay vigilant, tread carefully, recognizing the traps of the ego along the way. As we keep progressing, the energy transcends the Vishuddha chakra and arrives at Agnya chakra. To keep our focus tight, I'm focusing primarily on the Granthis, which are the spiritual knots, specifically the Brahma Granthi, Vishnu Granthi and the Rudra Granthi. The Rudra Granthi happens at the third eye, which is the Agnya chakra. This is where the Ida and the Pingala nadis meet once again. When they merge here, the illusion of duality dissolves. The concepts of me versus them, me versus the world, or even me versus the God begin to fade. You step out of dualistic thinking and truly comprehend the essence of non-duality. By non-duality, I don't just mean the academic philosophy of Advaita. I mean the lived reality where you realize I am already whole, complete. I am inseparable spark of that supreme divine energy. This deep recognition changes how you view the entire universe or world. You begin to clearly perceive what is temporary and what is eternal truth. And you start appreciating every smallest living organism to the biggest that you see around you. That is true realization. At Anahata Chakra, you discover acceptance. By the time you reach Agnya Chakra, that information matures into genuine wisdom. And that is the profound difference between mere knowledge and true wisdom. Seeing oneness or seeing the same in everyone, that is wisdom, or understanding the magnificence of the divine truth in the smallest organism to the biggest entity that we can find. From the third eye, ascending further to the crown center, the Sahasrara Chakra, requires immense dedication. It is reached through a combination of Guru's grace and divine grace. Those who stabilize here are truly blessed. Once consciousness enters a Sahasrara, the concept of you and I completely cease to exist. Everything merges into oneness. It is a state of supreme, unadulterated bliss. In fact, all of us have tasted flashes of this blissful state at some point in our lives, even if we didn't recognize it at that time. Think about a time when you are working on something with absolute single-minded focus. In those moments, you forget the world around you. You don't even think about the fact that you are doing the work. the action just flows seamlessly through you. Notice what happened there? The ego, the me, temporarily vanished. That total dissolution of the self is the essence of Shiva Shakti Rupini. But again, this is at the work, the action that we're doing at the physical realm. And it is no different than the spiritual oneness that I'm talking about. When we are able to see at every layer that oneness, we're actually in the state of oneness. Now, let's address an opinion that I often see circulating in spiritual circles. Many people believe that to reach the highest stages of spirituality, a seeker cannot walk alone. They insist that a husband and a wife must tread the path together. As I've maintained from the very beginning, there is nothing wrong with the couple practicing together. From a social standpoint, it makes perfect sense. When a couple shares the same spiritual worldview and walks the same path, it creates incredible alignment. When a family operates in this balanced manner, where instead of working at cross purposes, both partners are pulling in the same direction, it is like a well-balanced chariot. It naturally cultivates a peaceful, harmonious, and supportive home environment. This is a very beautiful way to live, and I completely agree with it. But we must also remember that spirituality is fundamentally an internal journey. The external concept of a husband and wife is a beautiful symbol, but the real sacred union is happening inside our own consciousness. The Shiva and Shakti, the masculine and the feminine energies, both reside within you. That is the real Ardhanareeshwara. Therefore, when people dogmatically claim that you cannot attain high spiritual knowledge or progress without an external partner, it can just inadvertently discourage sincere seekers. Spirituality is not dependent on anyone else. True partnership in the light of Ardhanareeshwara philosophy means loving, respecting, and honoring one another while fully supporting each other's individual spiritual journeys. It means giving your partner the total freedom to connect with the divine in their own unique way. If you can look at your partner and say, I honor your unique path and your freedom, then you are living the true spirit of this philosophy, free from rigid institutional rules. True companionship means allowing each person to make their own inner effort and walk their own path while beautifully cooperating with and supporting one another along the way. But we should also look at the other side of the coin. What if your partner has absolutely no interest in spirituality? Well, if that is the case, please do not try to force them to change. Do not immediately start preaching to them, lecturing them, or adopting a spiritual superiority complex by thinking, oh look how advanced I am, and look how far behind you are. Please don't fall into that trap. Their journey belongs to them. When they choose to practice or how they choose to evolve is entirely their option. We must offer them the same respect and space that we desire for ourselves. The more we force someone into a spiritual box, the more it becomes a heavy emotional and mental burden for them rather than a source of liberation. Trust that a spiritual seed will sprout in its own time. After all, if there was not a deep cosmic connection, why would they be walking through life with you? Perhaps they are also here to teach you patience and unconditional love, and that is why your souls chose to journey together. As long as you maintain this perspective, you're actively uplifting your own consciousness. True harmony lies in giving others their absolute freedom while focusing on your own growth. If a husband is deeply spiritual and his wife is not, the wife should never criticize or diminish him for his practices. Likewise, if a wife is deeply invested in her practice and her husband is not, the husband should respect her space and never place rigid restrictions on her. When a relationship functions with this level of mutual respect, it becomes a living embodiment of the Ardhanareeshwara principle. Ultimately, remember that you do not need to depend on anyone else to walk your inner spiritual path. But if you and your partner are blessed to walk it together, you're beautifully manifesting the Ardhanareeshwara philosophy both externally in your relationship and internally in your consciousness. Both ways are perfectly valid and beautiful. I leave you with this hope that you will carry the spirit of balance, harmony, and mutual respect into your daily lives, uplifting yourselves while uplifting those around you. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable time and listening to these thoughts today. I humbly bow down to the Divine Mother, Guru Tattva, to all the physical gurus and family members for supporting us in this journey of light. Sri Matre Namaha.